Welcome to Bite-Sized Little Bits for the Higher Mind. Hello, friends. Hello, and welcome to what I'm calling Sunday Bites. I used to love to always connect with y'all on Sunday mornings, and so I'm trying this again. Doing a little bit of just an audio only today because I'm calling this kind of the spirit surprise or whatever, rather than having something planned for these episodes, just so that it can be kind of fun surprise for me too. We're going to just bring in the guides and check in and see what they think everyone listening most needs to know right now. That's going to be our little Sunday show. So here in lovely North Dakota, it's a lovely 30-something degrees, and we're having some 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts that you may be or may not be able to hear yet. They're getting further apart. They were sustained winds this morning when I woke up, and now they're just blustering through. But my house they're coming in from the west. The west side of my house just takes the full brunt. But the winds kind of swirl and swirl all over, and they're kind of wreaking havoc. Like I have a flagpole, and the flag is going every which direction, not just wind from the west. So it's not just wind from the west. All right, so I like this. I'm on the wireless mic. I can move around and kind of let spirit direct my moves. And before we get into anything, I'm going to wrap us all in love, light, and light love, and invite in the guides who overlight this show: Archangel Michael, Archangel Metatron, Pleiadian power. And I'm going to just sit down for a second. I will tell you one thing I noticed. So I have a table set up, and I have a table set up in my room, and I was like, oh, I'm going to use this as like the spirit table, kind of see if there's if I see something on this table, those will kind of be messages. It's the same table I use for the card readings. And so I was walked up to the table, and on there I have a, who are these? Like Playmobil figure of the Divine Feminine and the Divine Masculine. The Divine Feminine's like a little fairy princess, queen, or fairy queen, and the Divine Masculine is like, the divine counterpart. He's like the king with his sword. And when I walked up to the table, he's laying face down, like he fell over, and he's laying face down. So I've got the transformation candle lit. Let me see. Drinking vanilla hazelnut. Where do you want me to focus? They're saying draw a card. Draw a card from Pleiadian power. Well, I'm no one's puppet, but I do let spirit kind of direct some of these episodes. All right, Pleiadian power. Things are speeding up now. All right, this is no surprise. If you listened to or watched the card reading for the Taurus full moon eclipse and the 11/11, that was a big theme. Things are speeding up now. But why then do I need to focus at all on this Divine Masculine laying down? Let me just keep putting stuff out on this table as they guide me to remove stuff from the table, grab stuff from the table. I would love to be outside doing this reading, but it's just way too windy and cold. Loveland. Oh, but of course, look, when I say that, it says, do everything you love this season and always. From the Loveland deck. We're here to support you. We're here to support you. We're here to support you. on this table are things I love to do. It just seems so simple, right? So you may be feeling, I think if I go back to the deck of the readings, things are starting to speed up now, but not everything's going to fall into place all at one time. It's going to take some time for manifestations to happen because this eclipse energy that we're coming into on Tuesday, it does take us for the next 6 months, as most eclipses do. They last for about 6 months or so. But let's see, where are we at? November, December, January, February, March. Yeah, till April, to the next one that we talked about, which was a total solar eclipse. I don't remember what sign it was in. And I think we just want to have fun. So on the table, there's like leftover Halloween stuff. So maybe it's time to clear up some clutter, right? Because on my table, I've got leftover like my jack-o'-lantern little tea light guy. I've got autumn leaves. I have Solaris, which is my big giant honey calcite crystal. And I have the feminine standing up. But if I look at her, let me look at her. She has armbands on. They're like those ones from Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman power, activate. Except one is high up on her arm and one is lower down. It was higher up on the divine masculine side. Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like for whatever reason, the divine masculine maybe needs some extra support this coming week, I guess they're having me say. So it feels like the feminine is very much in her power. La Luna is going to be shining bright. It's going to be a blood moon with this eclipse coming up. And I just feel like the masculine has been doing, so if you're a divine masculine, however you relate to that, we're not being genders, like whatever, however you relate to that, if your divine masculine has been in overdrive, whether you're male or female, I feel like this week you get to kind of take a little bit of a introspective look at what's going on. But that's nothing new. If you didn't watch our card reading, then, I mean, that's very much the same messages. It's all about, and when I pulled cards personally for this full moon, it said, I got the restoration card, restoring energy, restoring after a long journey, after a lot of soul work. And I also got the your consciousness is expanding card. And so yesterday I felt like that. So maybe this is what you're going to be feeling like when you listen to this, is yesterday I was like, gosh, I'm so, I feel like I've been giving a lot. I've been doing a lot on the channel, as well as just service work out, for the collective, be it the meditations that I'm doing that are based on, doing service for the collective, like the monk in the monastery up in the mountain kind of thing, like sending energy out. And I kind of felt like I needed kind of like an upgrade and a recharge, so to speak. So yesterday I listened to a lot of light language folks that I haven't watched in a while, and they're very they're very advanced. So it's a good time to maybe seek out like advancing your knowledge, advancing your spiritual practice, because this energy I'm getting a lot of chills there. This energy is expanding your consciousness in such a way that when you hear maybe concepts that you heard in the past and you were kind of like, oh, I'm not ready for that. I don't feel like that's resonating with me. I like it, but I don't feel like I'm quite there yet. Now is the time when you can go back to some of those teachings or some of those teachers, and you're going to more fully be able to assimilate and integrate the messages that they have to share. Yes. I never did. Way back at the beginning of the year, I think this is important. I channeled in the themes for all the quarters of the year, And I never really went over the ones for this quarter. So this is October, November, December. But to me, they seem to just now be showing up. The fourth quarter was rally the troops. It's going to get weird and wired. And oh my gosh, so many chills. This kind of triggered for me. I think this all started with the whole Mandela Gateway thing when we stepped through the gateway at the last eclipse on October 25th. But I heard I don't know who said it. I think it was Jamie Price. So I'll get back to her in a minute. But I was listening to her yesterday, and she's very advanced. She works with the Lyra Council of Time. She does really advanced teachings and light language. She's based out of Sedona. Oh, I'm getting such chills for Jamie Price. I don't know why. The weird and wired. She mentioned in a card drawing or card pull that she did, which she doesn't do very often. She has her own deck of light language cards, but she talked about it getting weird, the feeling of time getting weird. Oh my gosh, this my right side of my body is so tingly. So, which is my divine masculine side. Rally the troops. It's going to get weird and wired. So the energy speeding up, like the card said, and the weirdness I feel, and I alluded to this in the pick a card that I did, and I'll link to that if you haven't seen that. I would highly advise you to go, well, you can do whatever you want, but it's definitely a good overall theme for the rest of the year as well. But it was kind of like that song, and it came on the other day too on Instagram, Jack Black. Oh my gosh, he's crazy. But they did a redo of the Let's Do the Time Warp Again song. And they dressed up and everything. It was so crazy. But every time things start getting a little weird around me, like, did that just happen? That song starts playing, like, let's do the time warp again. And I'm like, oh no, what's happening? I talked in the pick a card about kind of losing like 30 seconds or about a minute of time where I was like, whoa, what just happened? Today in where I'm at, we had the time change. I don't know. I don't think everybody changes time, but here we did. We had that hour fall back for the fall. And wired, things are going to start speeding up. The more you live in the higher dimensions and the higher relational realities, the more the time linear time just seems a little bit blurred. And so Jamie Price, I want to come back to her because the next thing in my fourth quarter thing was Sedona again. So I have energetic support for peace, serendipity, and serenity. So thank you. If you can stick in those higher realms, then peace, serendipity, and serenity are going to be some of your key overarching themes. So divine masculine, the more you can keep your vibe high, the more you can tap into the peace, serendipity, and serenity vibes and bliss of the higher realms. That doesn't mean you're not living in the 3D, but it means you're able to pull yourself out of certain realities and realize, they're saying realize those aren't for you because of the way you feel when you're in them. Then I had Sedona again, which the way showers that I started to watch again, that just started popping up in my reality. And I was like, oh my gosh, I forget how much I resonate with these folks and how much I really like them. But I just kind of set them aside every now and then because I just feel like either their messages aren't, for me at the time, or, I don't know. Sometimes I just have like a thing when I don't want to watch them at that point. But the two that really stood out are Jamie Price, very advanced teachings. If you want to play around with the concept of time bending, time warps, time, she really specifically works with the Lyra Council of Time, and a lot of her videos are very informative and they're shorter. They're probably like, 15 minutes or so. And then her website has a lot of really good blog posts and stuff about that. And her light language is very different. I like it. I've never heard anybody kind of do the the light language that she does, a lot of her mother tongue and a lot of indigenous influences come through her. And then the other two that I picked up again, and they showed up in my reality, and I was like, oh God, sometimes I watch them and sometimes I don't. They're hard to watch for me in a sense, but they're not hard. It's just a personal thing that it's hard to watch them right now. But Kalina Malnar and William Melchizedek, and they showed up, and they live in Sedona now too. They moved to Sedona, but they are divine counterparts. They met in a very interesting way. Kalina started channeling love poems from William's higher self. And then, I don't know how many years before she met him, she painted a picture that looked almost exactly like him. And then finally, he had been watching, I guess, if it's destiny, then the spirit will find you the way to meet. But he had been drawn into her Facebook group, her private Facebook group. And I guess at some point he was guided to reach out to her, and he direct messaged her. And I was kind of following her very closely at that point, because I remember her saying, like, somebody has shown up in my reality. He direct messaged me on Facebook, and he says he wants to talk to me, and he's saying some stuff that I'm not really sure. Like, I don't know what he said, but I don't know the whole intimate story. But he wanted to get together and talk to her. And when he talked to her, I think she was freaking out because he looked exactly like the picture. And long story short, of course, they realized they were destined to be together. They're divine counterparts. They ended up together, and now they live in Sedona. And he also does amazing. He is amazing too. He is very much a heart opener. But they were doing an 11/11 show together, and they both do light language at the same time. Oh my God, so many chills. I met with him. I had a one-on-one session with him one time, and he is just really, really good. That was really good. And I think if you are interested in a one-on-one session with a divine masculine, because there's not very many out there that are to the level of vibrational depth and advanced practitioner. So far, there's some, but I would recommend him. His rates are very reasonable, I think, if I recall. But anyway, so Sedona again coming up. Red Rocks is coming up. I don't know why Red Rocks is here. It's a power portal, power stance. It's a power stance. Oh, they want me to stand up. I'm just kind of schlubbing and sitting there in my wingback chair. Power stance. Red Rocks is coming up. So that may be a place that we work with for the bringers of the light. Control Freak is coming up. There's been plenty of work around that. As you guys know anything about having to release control as you move into the higher realms, it's a big soul lesson of being able to release control around timing, around outcomes, around pretty much anything. Surrender. I have personal fitness around weight distribution. And it's interesting that the divine masculine fell over. He didn't fall over. He was laying down or something right here on this table. And when I channeled in personal fitness around weight distribution at the beginning of the year, I was like, what? Why is this even an important theme? And I guess it's different for everybody, but I know me personally, I consider myself pretty fit. I do a lot every day. I'm constantly moving. I have a hike with the dog in the morning for an hour. I do some sort of practice in the afternoon for 20, 30 minutes, whatever it is, weight strengthening, yoga, whatever. I make sure I get that into lots of squats, because I was having a lot of I told you guys once before, I was having a lot of pain issues in my back, which I finally figured out is my little weak ankles. And no matter how much yoga I do and how much strengthening I do for my feet, my ankles and my feet, which Pisces, I think, rules the feet. Pisces rising, very much identify with Pisces rising. My weak feet and ankles, or something about them, was causing all this major back pain. And so when I had some old ankle supports, some compression supports for my ankles. And when I put them on, I was like, oh my God, I can finally walk without having to stop every few minutes and like hunch over because my back is in so much pain. And so that appears to be what has been causing all of these weight distribution issues like lower back and IT bands and all of that, trying to compensate for what the feet and the ankles should be doing. And I think I slowly have been working with that with Master Co and some physical healing meditations that he did and some energy healing work and a lot of core work. I do a lot of core work, core strengthening, and a lot of leg and glute strengthening. And so, yeah, for some reason I'm supposed to be talking about this because I'm getting a lot of chills again on the divine masculine side. And so, I was feeling like the other day I went to the thrift store and I walked to the thrift store and I was like, oh my God, I can barely move. I don't think I had my ankle support on then. And I was like, I could barely make it to the register. And I had to like lean over the register because my lower back, I was in so much pain. And I'm like, well, if I go to the higher realm, if I stay really high vibe, I don't feel it as much, but it's still there. I have to deal with it, right? So this is what was happening. It was still there. I have to deal with it. And so I have been working with these ankle supports, and I was able to walk through the store the other day with I was like so happy because I was feeling like this little old lady, like hunched over that needed a cane. And actually this ankle work, this support, this strengthening, and it doesn't mean I'm not going to work on more ankle and foot strengthening, but this strengthening of the weaker part of my physiology at this point in time really was helping elsewhere in the body. So what does this mean? So this means like seek out this quarter those things that really listen to what your guides are telling you, what your body is saying, what you need to do to be strong, to get strong, because strength is it's so much more than just having a strong body. It's the power stance. It makes you feel strong emotionally and mentally as well as physically. And it's a reflection of your spiritual strength showing up as a physical manifestation in your reality. And it helps when I have to lift heavy garage doors because my garage door opener's broke, or reel in my dog when she's acting like a crazy woman and I have to muscle up with her. And this morning she got mad at me because she chews the end of her leash and I don't want it to break because I have to go to the other town, find this horse lead that I like to use. There's not too many of them. And so she got mad at me when I told her to stop chewing on her leash, and she was up in my face barking. She can get very, not aggressive, she can get very opinionated. And I looked down at her and I was like, if you come at me, I will take you down to the ground. So not like in a mean way, but I was like, if I have to body wrestle you down to the ground, I will do it. And I don't know who's going to win her in this case, but I just felt like if I had to, I could. So, it was kind of like, don't you look at me like that. I was like, I'll take you down. So this is the craziest show ever. How long have I been babbling? Oh no. 23 minutes. All right. So I think this is just a little fun time for us to connect, talk about some of these key themes for the rest of the year. Know that things are speeding up now. Divine masculine, I don't know why it's you that, I don't know why you're showing up here as needing this extra support. I think they're saying you've been slacking a little bit in the physical realm. Okay. So let me just get a little bit more on that. You've been slacking, Spirit. Sometimes they do these tough love messages and I'm like, what? You've been slacking a little bit in the physical realm because you've been spending so much time doing inner work that you've forgotten about your physical well-being. It's just you needing to balance yourself out, okay? It's just like the Temperance card. Get back on track with your physical well-being because it all is a reflection. It all kind of plays into each other. you're spiritually strong, you're mentally strong, you're physically strong, but don't forget about your physical. They just keep saying don't forget about your physical well-being. So I guess that's very important at this time. Let me just see if there's anything else before we sign off for the day. I've got to make a 60-mile run to the store. It's 9:44. All right, so I think we're winding down. That's all we want to say for today. I probably won't see y'all again till the middle of the week, till after the eclipse. So if you're able to see it in your area, like check out that blood moon, that spooky little blood moon, and honor how far you come. This is a graduation point. And if you're interested in other practitioners, check out Jamie Price or William and Kalina and see what they have to offer that might interest you in terms of advanced teachings. Let's leave you with a little bit of light language. If you've made it this far, I've been watching the analytics on the channel, and everybody just seems to love good old light language, although, it's just second nature to me. But it seems to get a lot of traffic on the light language front. And I will tell you, because this channel is in its 5th year now. This show is in its 5th year. And out of all the shows I've done, there's over 300 and something shows that we've done. They're all timeless. You can use them in the podcast. You can scroll around and use them like an oracle card and just pick one. All the playlists on YouTube for all the all the workshops and everything that I've done. It's all timeless. But the one that's gotten the most traffic out of every single one is still light language for healing pets. Light language for healing pets out of any show that I've done gets the most traffic of all. I find that very interesting. All right, let's see who wants to come in for the light language. Let's take a deep breath. The light language of the week is to buoy your physical power. Come into a power stance. So they want you to come into a power stance. Like mountain pose from yoga or whatever, like legs apart, kind of like superhero pose. You can put your hands on your hips or whatever. And let's see how we can move some energy, get you wired, get you weird and wired. I want you weird and wired. Uh-oh, I'm getting a little sassy. Take a deep breath. All right, y'all. Wish me well as I hang on this windy day to the store. I will chat with y'all again later. I love you. Thank you for being here, and we'll see y'all again soon. Take care. This episode was brought to you by the Elemental Dragon Councils of the Light. Whether you favor fire, water, earth, or air, these scaled, winged, ferocious, beautiful, magical friends are here to help you to ground, persevere, overcome, and find the magic in your life. Take care. We'll see you again soon.